began.
The face, the arm, the skin. This fact that it was still human was the most repellent attribute of the creature.
1884. I was just 30 years old, so full of confidence. I happened to pass by a vacant greengrocer's. The whole front of the shop was hidden by a hanging canvas on which was the announcement that the Elephant Man was to be seen within. Painted on the canvas was a frightful creature that could have only been possible in a nightmare. So I went. I would like to see this Elephant Man.
A shilling for a private showing, sir.
I gave it. We entered. Cold, damp. At the end of the hall was a curtain. He drew it aside and revealed a crouched figure with a blanket covering its head and back. The thing arose slowly and let the blanket fall to the ground. There stood, revealed the most disgusting specimen of humanity
That I have ever seen. The most striking feature about him was his enormous and misshapen head. From the brow there projected a huge bony mass like a loaf. From the back of the skull hung a bag of spongy, fungus-looking skin. The arm was of enormous size and shapeless. The hand, large and clumsy. A paddle rather than a hand. And the skin, like that of an elephant.
We live in a world that values inclusion. However, that hasn't always been the reality. In previous generations, those deemed different were constantly ostracized from society and shamed for their being. In the late 1800s, a man named John Merrick with Proteus syndrome was believed to be so horrid no one would look at him. He was cast out of society, thrown into the streets. He lived his life as if it were The Exhibition by Thomas Gibbons.
My deformity was not perceived much at birth, but began to develop itself at the age of 5 years.
I was anxious to examine him in detail, to prepare an account for his abnormalities. Therefore, I had him come to my room at the college. There, I exhibited him in the Pathological Society of London. After an interesting discussion, the meeting was adjourned. I returned him in a cab to his place of exhibition. The next day, the exhibition was closed by police. 2 years had passed, and I was called into a waiting room by the police. There, I found Merrick exhausted and starving. He had given the police a calling card. My calling card. I'd given it to him at our first meeting 2 years prior. It was obvious that he had nowhere to go, so I let him stay at the hospital. The hospital wasn't a refuge for incurables, but I could not abandon him a second time. Therefore, the Elephant Man came to stay at the London hospital.
I've just been out wandering the garden alone. It was a moonless night, of course, or else it would not have been permitted. Treves, the doctor, always used to send a nurse with me. Never sent the same nurse, no chance for attachments to develop. As if they would. No, anything that happens will happen only within me. People seem to think that I do not understand their feelings when they first see me. Their horror, their outrage. But there was a time when I first saw myself, first saw my face, and had to accept the fact that that was me. I was 13 years old, placed in a workhouse to labor some useless, forgotten task. I had never in my short life encountered a mirror. One day, though, I saw. It was a small room. I lit a candle and began to search. At the end of the room was a curtain. I grabbed it, drew it aside. Light! The mirror burst into light. All around me was light. But I saw. Shrouds does not allow mirrors here anymore. Does not matter. I have seen it. It is burned in my brain.
John? Hello, John.
Hello, Doctor.
May I see your left arm, please? John, do you enjoy living here at the hospital?
Yes, I am happy here.
Very good. Well, no sign of diseased tissue, quite flawless. I have a surprise for you. John, you have visitors.
No, please send them away.
John, you need to become accustomed to people. No one here wants to harm you.
What do you see here, Doctor?
I don't understand. I see you, John.
I see a circus. I was told once that my mother, while burying me, had something happen to her. She went into a circus and was knocked down by an elephant. I can see the creature, sometimes in my nightmare, standing triumph over her, trumpeting into the night. The image of the elephant passed through her into me.
What you say is not true. Being pressed in the womb, we used to believe that that was possible, but we know now that is not a true explanation.
It's so strange, for you see, my mother was so beautiful.
Sure she was, John. But there's joy and pleasure. People can show you these.
People. There is a tangible force emitted by the eyes, and I can feel it. Children's stares are timid and wandering, but not hard to bear. But men are worse. Their eyes bored into me, brutal and hard. But women are much, much worse. Such absolute horror. Send them in, Doctor. It is not my place to deny them. An outcast now in the eyes of men. A monster who will never find love or peace. A freak. No human will ever touch. I will spend the rest of my life in this place of exhibition. Exhibition.
John, what you say is not true. No one is such an outcast. No one is such a monster.
If someone would touch me here, I would be human for just 1 second. Anyone. Doctor, please. 1 second, and I would be human again. I cannot. I'm sorry.
Forgive me, John. Exhibition, exhibit, exhibitor. Did I ever help him? 1890, he was found dead in his bed. He often told me he wished he could have lied down to sleep. Why was he born into such pain? To know yourself hideous, malformed, a thing that scalds vision, and yet I find beauty in that. Why did the failures always outweigh the victories? I saved a king once, yes, but I could not help him. Or do anything more really than stand guard over him in his solitude. It is not enough. Something in me now is extinct. And I will not